Trying to think of some. He's got a bounty for you. You can bring him in cold or warm. His name is Greef Karga, yeah. He's got the heart of gold. I don't know, something like that. Good morning,
I was going with Karga on my wayward son.
Oh, well, copyright infringement,
Well,
but
we'll move on.
that's Twitch, whatever. We'll be fine, right?
Probably.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, and welcome to Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. We're obviously doing it live because we would have edited that if we weren't. Thanks for joining in. Today we're painting up Greef Karga. I'm going to have some fun. He's got a bunch of different cool leather tones, and looks like he's wearing some big old oven mitt gloves. So we'll be doing that and stuff like that. So I say, because it's live and I don't want to get in trouble because I'll just ramble on about something and what? Because now that song's in my head and I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to do it. We should just start painting. Let's go. Let's just paint. Where we at? I don't know how I ended up. I usually only have like 2 paintbrushes and I'm currently carrying around 7. And I don't even know where 7 paintbrushes come from. Hello, Red Bird. Hello, Mr. Rich. Hello, L. How's everybody doing? Daz is in the chat. Secret 911, always in the chat. We're going to start, as usual, with a little flesh tone. He's got a very warm, like, local tone. So I'm mixing a little burnt orange and the advanced to just start. I'm just going to mix those together and start because I really want that warm tone to come through when we start shading it and bringing in that wonderful natural tones that he has. I love this face. Greef Karga, obviously played by the great Carl Weathers. Just an awesome face full of cool personality. And, at Shatterpoint, we try to everything has like a bunch of stylization, right? Because we're going for that fun, stylized, high adventure cartoon vibe to the miniatures and the art. So kind of doing a stylized version of it. It was really, really cool. Were there other poses you considered? I believe there was several poses drawn, but this one just really reminded us of that shootout toward the end of season 1, like where Moff Gideon shows up and has him trapped in the bar, the cantina, and there's the big shootout, right? So trying to capture that vibe. I think it worked really well. So this one just sort of spoke to us, right? And like really read as like Greef Karga being awesome and blasting his way through a situation, before he becomes a little more reputable as a space senator, or what are they called?
The magistrate.
The magistrate, that's the word. Before he becomes a magistrate. Do you ever begin with the eyes, then surrounding face, or complete the eyes afterwards? Actually, for me, I personally like painting the ocular sockets with flesh tones, and then painting the eyes in, because I think it makes the eyes feel more connected and part of the miniature for me. So that's just usually why I do it. I want to get the face painted and then just do the eyes. for me, it's easier to fix the face and just be super, super careful than to try to paint the eyes. And then if I mess up and I mess up the eyes, I'm making the work double hard for me. So I'd rather just get the face right and then just add the eyes in. And they look a little more connected. They look a little more realistic for me. And realism isn't super important in miniatures, obviously. Miniatures are not a realistic art form. They're hyper realistic for sure. All miniatures kind of have exaggerated hands, heads, feet, just because the way scale works. And then the way we paint is sort of hyper realism anyways, sort of more saturated and vibrant and punchy because it gives more life, but you do try to have like a little bit of that hint of realism, like it could exist when you're doing it. He looks kick-ass, don't mess with me kind of look. Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely the vibe, right? Like that's the vibe of the character Greef Karga. And like there's many, many ways that you can capture that in miniature. Many ways you can capture that in a pose. This is just the way we went. But we wanted him, doing something with Mando and Grogu, just being really, really cool. His bodysuit's a different color, a little more purple in there. So I have to dig out some purples. Let's go back to the face. We can start shading it. I like how they wrote Karga, an old bounty hunter that can still throw down but prefers diplomacy. Yeah, I feel that, right? Like as an old guy who used to be more apt to a tussle, I find myself wanting to diplomatize more. And so I agree. I really liked Greef Karga a lot and his personality and like, he's like, well, we should do it like this, but you're choosing to do it this way, and so therefore it's gonna happen. What happened to the noosh? There was something I wanted to try today, and there's no noosh. There's no noosh.
Do you need me to grab some for you?
No, I'll just use the glaze medium.
Okay.
So I haven't really played with noosh that much, but this weekend I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were messing with it on a palette together, and I was like, I think this could really do something interesting with blending, but I don't have the bottle of noosh in here. Let's use glaze medium. It'll all work. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I probably grabbed it to like do something else. Do the hand thing. I'm doing the hand thing.
Yeah, if anything, hobbying is doing the magic hand thing.
I'm doing the magic hand thing. So I started with a light color on the skin, and we're going to shade down and use that as like our highlight tone. I'm not in a rush here. I'm going to take my time. It's not very often we sculpt mustaches. We actually tend to avoid them quite regularly. But his mustache is so pronounced, we did actually sculpt it. Because many times, like, if the mustache is too sculpted on, it could look like they sort of have like a large, like, bee-stung lip. which is all the rage on TikTok, I hear. I don't know. I don't have TikTok.
Do you people who just send you selects for you to peruse later?
Yeah, I get that all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm currently playing a video game that's getting a lot of TikToks. So
We are going to have to talk about that later.
I'm getting a lot of videos about that game. A large, yeah, it could look, yeah, if you sculpt it on, they can look like a large fake mustache. Like they got their Groucho Marx glasses and mustache, and they're like, no, I'm not Greef Karga. Like, I'm his brother, Greef Garga.
Oh man, Els, you gotta read what Els said.
Too old for TikTok, too young for Life Alert. Yep, that's me. Yep. Born too late to discover the oceans. Born too early to travel the stars. TikToks are for younger kids. Get off my lawn. You kids and your TikToks and your boop beeps.
So we've talked a little bit in the past about when you have a miniature that's primarily like all within one sort of color. So we've got a lot of brown on Greef Karga. How
Greef cargo pants.
Greef cargo pants. How do you recommend creating enough like depth and variety by throughout the process?
So the goal here will be we're going to use basically the same 4 colors that's out, and then we're just going to add other colors to those. And the big thing is like I was talking about, his skin is very warm. It's like got a it's orange but not orange, right? It's a very lovely orange brown rich tone, and I want to capture that. And then like if you look, I'm looking at a picture right now, so you should be Googling Greef Karga and take a look. But like if you look at his jawline, right, that orange actually kind of goes away and it becomes colder, right? Because that's that 5 o'clock shadow, and like he has to shave every day, right, to maintain a smooth face, and that actually changes the color of the skin. And also there's just a artistic idea of like the color, the temperature zones. Your jawline and chin is blue. Red goes across the eyes, nose, because that's where the vascular system is closest to the skin. So that's why you have rosy cheeks and a red nose, and that little red around the eyes. Everybody has that. And then yellow on the top. So using that, but then like his clothes, like I said, like his bodysuit has that purpleness. So we're gonna use some of the same browns, but we're gonna add a little purple to it. His sleeves are a more ochre, so there's more yellow to that, much less orange. So the primary color has that yellowness. So we're going to bring in some of that yellow to those sleeves. And then the black, even though the black gloves are black, I want some of that brown there too, because in the shadows it's going to catch some of that. So we're going to bring some of that. So it's about color, or it's about temperature, and just creating that contrast between all 3 of the browns. I love that rich brown color you got there. Currently on the palette, and of course I moved them, is Monument Advanced Flesh Tone, Burnt Orange, Warm Brown, and Mahogany. Yeah, Mahogany is what I put out there. Does that tip wet? Yeah, it looks like Mahogany. And the base tone was just the Advanced Flesh and Burnt Orange, right? Because I want to get that little touch of that orangeness in there. And then I'm adding Warm Brown to that to start my shadows, and then I'll add Mahogany to that to like get those nice deep tones for that dark shading. I want his cheeks to be lively. Like getting warm tones in the skin is always important, right? I treat all flesh tones the same. It's all the same approach. They're all the exact same, right? It's warmth in the eyes, it's warmth in the nose and cheeks, right? It's that coolness around the jaw. If I was doing something like, like a fairy nymph or something like that, I'd probably not do that as much because you want to bring more, or like children, you don't do the coldness around the chin because you want that super lively, like burst of life, beaming with life sort of feel. This guy's seen some stuff, so that those jowls get blued. I've noticed as I've gotten older, my jowls are getting bluer as I look in the mirror.
Jowlicious.
He's getting jowly. I've been playing with my blending techniques. I'm trying a little more staccato. I've retired from studio painting, so now I'm just getting whimsical with my painting. I'm just a madman. Like, just what if I get staccato with my blends? What does that even mean, Dallas? Heck, I don't know. I know that blend is real bad. Oof.
Daz has got a question about your recommendations for getting the effect of, worn, used, faded leather.
Let's get into that. Let's start doing some leathers. Let's just stress this leather a little bit. So the big thing is texturing with the highlights. So we got the base layer on there, which was a straight coat of that warm brown. Of course, that warm brown is already in the flesh tone, right? So we're already playing with a very limited palette. But now we need to start darkening it and distressing it. Let's get a little coal black and let's say black brown. Let's start with black brown. Now, this is going to be a cold brown. We need a little more warm brown out there on that palette. Daz paints with jazz he heard on a random elevator. It's true. We can even cheat. We can bring some of this. I don't want to bring that orange into it though. I want to stay away from that orange for anything cloth. That warm brown is going to cool it off. It's going to build in some initial shades. That needs to be a little darker actually. Cool it off. When things get distressed and old, as we were talking about this man's jowls and mine, let me tell you, as a distressed old thing, they tend to get colder. The circulatory system isn't working like it should. So I like cooling off those shadows because it makes it feel older, right? Like an old leather jacket, right? You just look at it and you can see that, like the deep parts of that leather just there's no moisture there any longer. Real rough and tumble. Nothing fancy here. I know it's hard to see on that side. We need 3 cameras. We need 3 cameras. One for every angle. See, that wasn't even fancy. That was super not fancy. Let's bring some of this warm brown back in over the top here. And maybe where the sun hits it, it's a little, you can kind of see what once was of the leather. That old potential. But we still have to distress it. We're going to do that in just a moment. I want that mid-tone, that local color to have that, you know, it's like him, it's like Greef himself, right? There's a man who has seen troubles and hard times and is now trying to make a more, you know, I'm not going to say peaceful way, but you can, you know, underneath there, like the miles. Such a dashing jacket too. I need a side cape jacket. I think I could rock that. Okay, now let's start distressing it. We're gonna take a little, let's use dark ivory. I just randomly grabbed that. Dark ivory, why not? Blurp, dark ivory. That could have been heavy titanium white. That could have been heavy warm white. Heavy warm white's gonna put a little more of that warmth in it. The ivory is nice because it's a very green tone. There's like some green there, and it's a very desaturated color. We're gonna desaturate this brown. And that's gonna be our highlight color. What that's going to do is create that, this is going to be used to create that distressed look. A little darker. Something like that. So for distressed leather, I like using my little patented tings and dings. So we're going to catch the edge of this little shoulder bit. We're going to draw a little line edge. And maybe go like that. Let's do this instead. So that's going to show like the way leather bends, right? Like your finger, right? As you get older, right? The more lines on the finger, because that's where it's bending. There's less lines over here, right? Because this is that stressor point. So it's the same thing on leather. Yeah, I'm kind of reacting to the sculpt. I'm looking at where the sculpt wants it, and thinking about how this material is moving on him, and where the distress would happen. You know, it's like when you're distressing a vehicle, weathering a vehicle, it's always low and forward, right? It's where things hit. It's, you know, if you had a tractor and the tractor is only used to go through brambles that are, you know, waist high, the top of the tractor doesn't have the same sort of weathering as like the bottom, because the bottom's just getting beat up. And then the back side of things doesn't get beat up because, you know, as you push brambles to the side, they don't slap around and hit the backside of a, you know, a square, you know, box on the side of a tractor, right? So you have to think about where the material moves. And honestly, I'm really just kind of cheating. You know, this isn't realistic. I'm just focusing on the highlights. I'm bringing it to the highlight because that's where the eyes, that's the easiest way to do it. Is sort of show where it's at on the highlights that it's distressed. The more little lines, the more your eye picks up that there's something crunchy, creasy about it. Sometimes I like to have these like highlights cut across the deep shadows. That's just contrast and it looks really cool. Maybe the edge of that jacket. I'll let that dip way down in that deep shadow because it looks more contrasty. There we go, a different direction here and there. Can we get a nice straight on close view of those thin lines when complete, please? Let's, tell me which direction to move. Oop, as she says.
Almost tripped, but
Don't trip.
I made it. I'm here. Show the lines.
I'll stay right there. Can y'all see it? TK, what up? Go a little bit lighter toward the top there. Oh, Dad says lovely, thank you. Oh, don't you hate it when you aim and you miss? I mean, that's just life. Sometimes you aim for something and you miss. You gotta try again. Missing ain't no reason to stop. Yeah. Have 5 minutes. Short visit today. We'll have to catch the YouTube. Let's go coal black. Time to paint the mustache. Oh, I got the hiccup. Sorry. Put a little brown in there. We don't want it to be pure black. And let's paint the hair that same color. That finely sculpted short. Do you find a freedom in painting scruffed up stuff, as you can never truly predict or plan out where damage, wear, and tear ends up, such as a tear in a jacket or stain on material? I like, personally, I think that there's a joy in both, like the freedom of creating like the weathering and the tear and sort of that, you know, that general loosey-goosey paint philosophy that I have anyways. You know, I'm not painting for competition. So I do love just sort of, you know, it's painting for yourself. I'm not trying to win anything here. I'm not winning miniatures, right? I'm not winning war game, right? That's not how I do things. Like even playing war games, I'm not, you know, the goal is to win, but the point's to have fun. But I also really enjoy being able to, like, for myself, right, to be like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to go super clean, super tidy, super precise. Like, I think that it's just two different things to learn in a way. And I like learning things and having more tools in the pocket. But definitely learning how to paint like real free and loose, scruffed up battle damage is a lot of fun. Okay, I'm going to take some of this dark brown, some of that mahogany. We're going to create our final shade to this flesh. Just a little deeper. Look at this handsome man. A little funky shade right there. don't know if everybody knows this. Also, next week is Adepticon.
Sometimes I forget, but then I remember real fast. But it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm in the, oh man, I've been remembering real fast place. Like, oh boy, that's next week. So my question is, who are we gonna see?
Daz is saying that they're trying to forget since they can't come, but it does look like Adepticon is going to have a bunch of streamers who are going to be chronicling the event. And if you're not able to make it, there should be ways to still enjoy a little taste of what's going on there.
A taste. Just a sample. A charcuterie. Faded plum? No. What do I want? What do I want? I want something purple, but not super. Do I want royal purple? I don't think that's what I want. Where's Jason Craze? Tell him I want a new purple. We're going to try faded plum. Correct. Next week, actually the 2 weeks of after the next 2 weeks, there will be no streams, for we will be at Adepticon, and that means I can't hang out here and paint because I'll be there. And then the week after, there won't be streams either because we will be making sure the entire studio is safe and hiding out at home, making sure that no one brings the con creds back from the Adepticons. Because the last thing I want to do is come back and give somebody on my team some yucky feeling grossiness. I think I do actually want that royal purple. I want a live report on gonk racing. Yeah, there's several streamers that'll be streaming the information from Adepticon. Some of our events will be streamed. I'm not going to be so bold as to say which ones because I don't know. But I'm sure there's a communique about that somewhere.
Yeah, these are all awesome folks from around the community that Adepticon has rounded up to provide coverage for all the world's events and other events throughout the weekend. So keep your eye on Adepticon social because I'm sure they'll put it out there, and they've been tasking folks who have been doing it in the past to really bring it all together and make it easier for people to find what they're looking for. So hats off to Adepticon for arranging all of that for the folks who can't be there.
Yeah.
Super appreciated.
Hats off to Adepticon. Good luck to the racers. Good luck to all those gonks. They're gonna need it. Because you know it's not particularly good at racing gonks.
Gentle bots, start your gonkgens, your motivators.
Let's get gonking. Oh no, it's gonna happen, and I'm gonking here.
It can't be stopped. It really can't be. Yeah, my suspicion about the gonks is that you'll hear it before you see it because it's gonna get wild over there, I'm sure.
I might be bringing 2 gonks.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I want to bring some squads with me for some evening battles and games, but we'll see.
I always say I'm gonna do that, and then I get real sleepy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to bed. I'm not staying up. I can't. And I am the most casualist of players. I'm going to bring my crossbones and make you wish I didn't. Two, yeah. I mean, I'm seriously. I think I'm going to bring 2 gonks.
Yeah, my thing is if I bring a gonk, I feel like I should just fill the bag with other things in case I need them. Because I don't have like a tiny transport just for 1 gonk.
If you just want to bring 1 gonk, oh, you have to bring it tomorrow though.
Okay, I can do that.
I have space in my case for one mighty gonk.
Well, my favorite thing about Dallas, your prep to carry things is you've been posting up photos within our all hands chat of just the incredible puzzle of the whole situation.
Look, it ain't easy packing studio miniatures. And I've been doing this for a long, long time. And always trying to figure out new ways to get studio miniatures across the country without breaking is no easy task. But I'm feeling pretty good about my current setup. So, feeling good. Somebody's coming through the door. It's making me nervous. Oh, it's Tony. I'm no longer nervous.
I feel like so much of this has come together. Sometimes we finish stream and we've done like one kind of aspect of a thing, but
I'm just tootling about.
I know.
We're painting. Oh man, I used to have a roommate, and he'd be like, I didn't really get much painted today. You know, in the evening when we're sitting around, and like I'm painting, and like I look over, and he's got 2 miniatures on his desk, and he put a wash on it at the beginning, and he had the quote, let the wash dry, which just means he's been playing a video game for the rest of the time. And I'm like, well, yeah, you didn't, I can't imagine why you didn't get anything done. I'm shook at this situation.
Yeah, that is, for me, I have the fun neurodiverse spice of the ADHD, and I find that I do much better when I'm waiting for things to dry if I just have 2 miniatures that I'm painting at once. And then I can stay focused on the type of task. Otherwise, nothing would ever get done.
2 miniatures is a good path to success. I totally agree. Like being able to bring 2 miniatures, and so when you're done with one part, you can do that part on something else, and then you're waiting for it to dry. Also, I'm not a fan of waiting for things to dry, so I just use a blow dryer and I just dry it.
You just make it work for you, which is also an option.
You will dry when I say you were.
It's time to be dry now, Mr. Karga.
Right. We've got miniatures to paint. Mm-hmm. 4 or 5 miniatures, little shelf gets rotated during paint session. I tend to paint one thing the whole time. Unless I'm doing like a unit, right? If I'm working on like Legion and I got a unit of, you know, B1s, right? Like, but I do that way you don't have to wait either, because you put the wash, you put the wash, you put the wash, you put the wash, put the wash, put the wash, put the wash. By the time I get done with the last one, the first one's dry and I can do the next step. Also, I plan my steps a little bit, in my head, like I don't write things down or write spreadsheets, gross. But I kind of think about if I do the wash now, then I can do this step, right? And while everything is still going. So I definitely assembly line things like units, but like a character, I'm very much like I get this character done. I want to finish this character. I want to paint Greef Karga. And I mean, you get to watch and see exactly how I do that every Tuesday and Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on Twitch. There's no camera tricks here. Like sometimes we gotta go and finish at home, but that's just the gussing ups. Just that little bit of highlight. What do you do with all the minis I paint on stream? Typically, those are my measures. Those are my personal things that I'm working on anyways. So like, if I were to bring Shatterpoint to Adepticon, and was going to be playing Greef Karga, this would be the Greef Karga you see on the table that I play with. Sometimes I give them away to my coworkers. Sometimes there's like more studio needs and they go to the studio, but typically if I'm painting something, it's kind of my thing I'm working on, and I think that it's that's interesting. It's the part about miniatures that I think is so interesting, is like you get to personalize it, so, and it's yours. So being able to share like that personal journey with people, I think is super important and fun for me. It's something that attracted me to miniatures a long, long time ago, is the seeing what people do. So
I will say we have a few. We have a collection of that haven't been taken home by Dallas or Schick upstairs, and it kind of makes me like happy to see to see our little family of stream miniatures up there, and kind of remember what our conversations were with y'all in chat those days, or the things that were ideas from chat or color from chat and stuff. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's for me. It's like it's just super important to like, you know, if I'm like, well, it's just a like, can I be a little crude for a moment? I'm gonna be a little crude for a moment.
Within reason, sure.
Well, yeah. If I'm like, well, this is just the marketing Greef Karga, I just throw it away. We're just painting it just to paint it for show and tell today. Like, and I mess up on it. That's not interesting, and I don't think that there's something to learn there. But if I'm like, this is mine, right? Like this is my quote war dolly that I'm gonna play with, right? And I make a lot of mistakes on it, and I show you how to fix it. I think that that's way more interesting because it shows that, you know, it's not everything has to be perfect and not everything has to be impeccable, and that it's you know, messing up is part of the process sometimes. And you know, I mess up, and I mean, I've been a studio painter. I painted stuff that goes on boxes, and I painted for competitions, and you know, won them and placed in them. But sometimes you're just painting for the tabletop, and I really just want to share that and remind people the joy of it's just for tabletop. It's for a fun game that you should be playing for fun. And it's okay to mess up. It's okay. All the magenta. Chat, you are special. Although I keep saying that everybody should invite their grandmas to come join, and I don't think anybody's done it. So that makes me a little. I'm gonna put on my dad face and like look at you over the top of my glasses. As we were talking at lunch, like there's two types of way to be intimidating. Some people are really good at not looking at you and being intimidating. Some people got that cold stare. Yep. I definitely have the cold stare. Not even when I intend to sometimes. Like sometimes people are just like, man, that's cold. And I'm like, I'm not, that's just my face.
That's my resting cold face.
it's real cold.
Brr.
Call me old Mr. Frosty.
Yeah, the browns like really came together, I feel like.
Yeah, we had a little purple there, right? And because his costume is purple. It's like a really warm purpley. But there's a lot of just the same colors just repeated in different measures in different ways, right? And I mean, even his sleeves were just, what color was that? Whoa, no, it's an ochre. It's a yellow ochre mixed with that cold brown or that black brown and a little touch of the advanced flesh tone. And I just washed it over the boots, and it makes like a really nice brown tone for those. Like that's the shade to that. Like
Totally.
It's real quick to make those different tones all come out and read. Wait, what's our shading? I don't remember. Oh, purple pants with a dark brown shade.
Yeah, the pants really is the color that's standing out to me a lot.
Look at them on that screen. They're very purple. feel like I need to switch to more purple pants in my life.
I'm wearing some right now.
True. Ah, modern Star Wars, you've done so much for the dad bod. Between Greef, Karga, and Boba Fett. Oops, I made a mistake. Clean it up real quick. Oh, everybody's working on different things. Fear and Dead Men. Man, that squad is dope. Yeah. An hour late. Have you changed times? Caves know. Have you changed times? What?
Daylight savings time has happened, but it's still 1 p.m. here that we start at 1 p.m. Yeah. Yeah, the spring forward will get you every time.
Spring forward, fall back.
I feel like that hour of sleep I missed when we did the whole change this weekend is deeply felt in my bones. I still haven't recovered.
Oh, somebody asked a question about eyebrows and I missed it.
The question about eyebrows was any recommendations for how to go about painting eyebrows?
AMG Andrea, you're correct. You didn't have to miss sleep, just get up late Sunday. Yeah, I don't actually usually feel the hour as like a sleep thing. I just more feel the hour as the next day I'm like, whoa man, that day went by quick. I'm like, wow, it's 5 o'clock and I haven't done anything. What are we talking about here? After DEFCON, plans and preparation, or We Are Brave. Oh, do the We Are Brave. I want to see them. It's just all. Oh, no questions. Oh, eyebrows, man. Whew. Daylight savings eyebrows. Eyebrows savings times. Gross.
What are your recommendations for eyebrow savings times?
I typically don't paint the eyebrows because usually they don't look right. They're a little too exaggerated in miniature. Unless I was doing like a Eugene Levy like miniature, that's a main feature, right? Miniatures are exaggerations. Like when you make a miniature of somebody, it's an exaggeration, right? It's almost like a character. Like they don't actually look like them. There's only so much I can do with the approximately 5 millimeters of headspace we get here, right? So they're kind of a character. They're stylized, and typically the eyebrows to me look very fake and overdone. That's not to say we've not done eyebrows. I've definitely painted eyebrows on things. We could try it right now. I think the big thing I see people do, I'm going to use the word wrong, and there's no wrong. It's, whatever you want. But if you were having me judge you, I would say it's wrong, is don't use pure black. And keep the line very small. But the problem is there's that brow ridge that you want highlighted. Right? You want that brow ridge highlighted to create the form of the face. So right underneath that brow ridge, a very, very dark line comes out, breaks the frame, creates a side. I think is good enough.
Yeah, it's so true. Catching the underside of the shadow rather than thinking about it painting on an eyebrow.
Yeah, because you need that brow.
Kind of a great way to encapsulate it because it gets weird fast.
It gets real. It's the same reason why we don't paint the top lip.
Yeah.
On a miniature, we don't paint the top lip on miniatures in the studio, because they can look clownish, right? They can come off very, very clownish, and it looks really, really weird. So typically we avoid the top lip. We don't even usually sculpt the top lip, even though, if you were sculpting a full scale, that mandible between, the philtrum between the nose and the lip, that doesn't get sculpted, and that the way your upper lip protrudes, we don't do that because it makes the face look puffy. I worry that painting your eyebrows will change the expression. And that's one of the reasons to change the eyebrows, right? When I painted, the studio Professor Xavier, the eyebrows once again are very much a prominent feature of the character, so I think they are important. But also it creates the expression. You can create the expression by painting those eyebrows on. So it's a tricky thing where, you can change the expression just by changing the shadows of where the shadows are. I talk a lot about I watch a lot of makeup tutorial videos when I was learning how to paint miniature faces, and especially makeup tutorial, drag style makeup, because that is literally showing you how to sculpt and define a face however you want. You can have a narrow nose, but by using makeup, i.e. paint on a miniature, you can make the nose look broader. You can have high cheek or low cheekbones, and by creating where your shadows and highlights are, you can push those cheekbones up a little bit, right? Use a tiny pigment pen, sure. Yeah, pigment pens are easier for you to control. I personally find, for me, I like paintbrushes because they're easier for me to control, but that's all personal preference. You're not doing it wrong. You're doing it your way. And as long as the results are good, that's all that matters. That's why I always tell people there's no wrong way, but there's definitely you did it that way, but the results, I don't think those are the results you wanted. If you're like, I paint with this brush, and I'm like, well, the eyes aren't right, and you're like, yeah, but that's how I paint with the brush. I'm like, well, it's a conversation, I guess.
That cool tone in the shadow of that cape is also rad.
Yeah.
From the side that the camera is looking at it right now.
Yeah, that little cool tone in that shadow. Bada-boo, bada-boo, bada-boo-boo-boo. I'll make this little section black. I don't think it actually is, but I think it's going to just look nice. Yeah, it just creates a little. I would say he's about. Whoa! Wow, Ian, we went way over.
Hey, I thought you knew because we started late.
I didn't know.
I'm sorry.
No, what are we doing? Are we going to be in trouble?
No, I don't think so.
Ann, are we going to get in trouble?
No, I would be the one getting us in trouble, and I think it's great, but we should wrap it up.
And to be sure, I would throw you under the bus.
And that would be fair. Fair and reasonable.
What? Where were y'all at? And didn't tell me.
Listen, we were talking about the cool tones.
Ooh, that dog's like, oh, look, they're talking. You all got me in trouble. Rude. Now I'm going to throw chat under the bus.
No, it was me. Don't put those poor folk. Don't bring them into this.
And I wouldn't have got away with it too if it wasn't for those pesky chats. That's where we're at today.
Take us home.
Take us home. Greef Karga, we're about, I'm going to say 90% done. I'm going to finish his blasters and do a little highlighting, but overall, the philosophical ideas of the different types of browns, I think we're there. Something to work on, and we painted some eyebrows, which I never ever do. So thanks for making me do that. I like being pushed and reminding myself, like something that I haven't done in a while, reminding how to do it and the philosophy of why and how to do it. So that's a good reminder. Remember, if that was fun, every Tuesday and Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which means today, which is already passed, we've just missed it, but there's always tomorrow because it's Wednesday. You can check us out right here on Twitch for Atomic Mass Transmissions Live, where we hang out, we chat, and we paint. And that's all we really do here. We don't do anything else. Chat, paint, talk about time travel, things like that. And then for all the latest news, information, and announcements coming from Atomic Mass Games, check us out on Twitter and our Instagram. And remember next week's Adepticon. We will not be here for 2 weeks because we're going to be gone for Adepticon, and then we're going to take a week off to not bring our sickness into the house. So until tomorrow, go be a Greef Karga. Be a old, rugged person that's seen too much, but still just trying to be good in his heart. Now there should be a song about that, like believe in
I feel like the music rising in my mind.
Yeah, you believe in your heart, 'cause your heart can go on. You're a good guy, even though this is a bad song. I don't know. Bye. No, just cut it. Just stop it. I'm walking away from it.